time to talk about what United Methodist Students means to them. Please go ahead and use it.
First. Does it come out? I'm not singing solo, I'm not scared. Everyone stood by me in church knows I do that. Is it on? So, United Methodist Student is a great organization. We get to do lots of things. Just like with anything else, there's strength in numbers. So the meeting that we have together, the things that we can do, the money, the time we can give is wonderful. But for me, the most important thing about, there's two things that I love the best about UMW and our group specifically. The first one is probably the fellowship with friends. It's great to see everybody once a week at church and get to pass the peace, and that's my favorite part. I hate flu season because I love giving hugs and saying hi to people. But what's great about UMW is we get to meet and have a meal together once a month and bonus meetings and things kind of between. And really get to know each other. So when you give somebody a hug on Sunday morning, it's not just like, oh, it's good to see you today. It's you're my friend and I care about you deeply because I know about your life and we get to share snippets of our lives. So that's huge for me. The other thing that I really like about UMW is the last 2 years, I guess, Miss Sarah and I have done a reading program. So there's a list of books that they give you. You have to read so many books, and you have to read the Response magazine as part of the program. And they give you a certificate, and it's just pretty cool. But the best thing for me is that the books on the list are not books that I would choose. I would not go to the library. I would not put on my Kindle and choose these books specifically because I've never heard of them. But they're books that make you grow. There's different sections about personal growth, social justice, and peace, and each category is about a different thing. And you pick a book from the category. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing that I enjoy because I have read those and grown not only as a person and as a woman, but as a Christian, and being able to look at other groups of people and things going on in the world in a different way because the books are supposed to make you grow, they're supposed to make you look at yourself and look at the world a little differently. So for me, even though I'm a busy mom with 2 toddlers and I don't have a lot of spare time, I make the time to read those books and I'm really glad I do because I really enjoy those. So I would say for me the 2 best things are fellowship with my friends and spiritual growth of myself and reading those books. I will be singing because I have my phone. Actually, I don't even know if I can probably do that. A lot of you know that, obviously Thomas and I are not from around here, and when we moved here, we had the promise of having family here, and it didn't work out for us. So we were kind of left, no friends, no family in the area. And I was lucky enough to get a job working with Petty's, and then they were okay with me coming to church with them too, because, why not do 6 days a week? To me, what UMW is, it's my family and it's my friends. If it weren't for UMW, I'd have Petty's and the people I worked with. I wouldn't have anybody else to be my friends. And to have a support system of women that I can call up and ask to babysit my kid, or just to help me with things, to give me hugs at church, that's the most important thing to me. And if I didn't have a job, I honestly think I could probably fill my time doing UMW stuff all the time because there's so many opportunities and options and things to do in the world and in our community. So I think, it gives me a sense of purpose, and it also gives me a family of purpose.
Okay, I'm going to be really short this week compared to these ladies because my thoughts are a little discombobulated this week. For me, UMW goes all the way back to when I was a little girl, and I can remember going with my mom to UMW meetings. And I remember going to Lily Barnett's house in Weatherford, Oklahoma, and how important those little ladies were and how they became my grandmas and how they became a sense of my family. And I know for a period of time I kind of fell out of church, like so many people in the 18 to 20, 24 range do when they go to college and so they're wild oats. And then I came back to church after I had children, and I have 3 daughters, and it is a joy and a privilege to get to share UMW with them, and for them to have the opportunity to have the same extended family, because until recently, we had no family here in town either. And the church and the ladies and the gentlemen here have all been family for us, and it means a lot to know that not only are we a part of the church here at Living Waters, but we are a part of the Church of Arkansas, we are part of the Church of the United States, we are part of the church in Liberia, we're everywhere. And UMW is so big and so strong and does so much, and it's a blessing to be a part.
I am also a transplant. My husband and I moved here from Texas when he got his job at Walmart. And didn't know a whole heck of a lot of people. Had made some friends through work. Not overly sociable. Didn't like to hang out with them. And then when Abigail came into our lives, I felt a need for structure, spiritual structure for my children. And checked out a couple of different places, and it wasn't a good fit. And the first time that I went to the church on Main, we were talking about the merger. And the first time I ever went to church at that church, they asked me to stay after and give my opinion. And I felt involved. And it has become a very important part of my life. I don't know what I would do without these ladies to be friends with and to mentor my daughters. And to talk to me when I'm down. This is a group that changes lives. Not only the lives that they serve, but the lives of people that join. And I am very proud to be a member of the United States. Sorry. Wasn't expecting that. We have an offering that we are going to donate to the New Hope Academy. And next to the cause is a card that if you would like, I am leaving my favorite pen because it's the only one I have in my purse. It needs to still be next to the card when I can pick the card up. Just saying. So, I want to tell you a little bit about the history of United Methodist Women's Group. I keep saying women's. Never doubt. Oh. Okay. We'll just do this. Can you hear me? Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that it ever has. Margaret Mead. Whenever I was reading about the history of the United Methodist Women, I kept thinking about this quote. In 1869, Mrs. William Butler and Mrs. Edwin Parker visited Boston. They were wives of missionaries that were in India, and they invited women from different congregations to come to a meeting where they would discuss the circumstances of women in India at a time when they themselves, in their own country, were categorized Because of a horrible storm, there were only 6 women who showed up, and a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens emerged. I think that the storm helped them because only women of focus and dedication showed up. Before the conclusion of that very first meeting, they had announced a focus to help the women of India. They had written a constitution and organized the Methodist Women's Foreign Missionary Society. Before the end of 1869, these women, who by then had grown to 34 members, had raised sufficient funds to send Isabella Former, an educator, and Dr. Clara Swain, a physician, to India. Education for women in India was practically non-existent, and male doctors could not treat female patients due to social taboos. Isabella Former started a school with 6 young girls, and that group grew into the Isabella Former College, the first college dedicated to educating women on the entire continent of Asia. Dr. Swain began a clinic which would eventually grow into the Clara Swain Hospital. The generous gift of an estate upon which they were able to build was given to them by a local prince, the Nawab of Rampur. Today, the Dr. Clara Swain Hospital still serves the women of India, as does the Isabella Former College. During this same time, in 1869, women of the United Methodist and Evangelical United Brethren also organized a service group for women. In 1875, Lizzie Hoffman spearheaded the creation of the Women's Missionary Association of the United Brethren Church, and they organized special missions to Sierra Leone in Africa. Throughout 1880 and 1890, the Methodist Episcopal Church organized the Strong Women's Home Missionary Societies. In 1879, the Methodist Protestant Church organized the Women's Foreign Missionary Society. And in 1884, the Evangelical Association organized the Women's Missionary Society. By 1900, these groups had begun to merge in order to be able to service more people and do more good works, and then precipitated in part by the economic downturn of the early 1900s, especially around the time of the Great Depression. They merged even more. And the Ladies' Aid Societies and the Missionary Societies joined forces so that they could stay alive and so that they could continue to serve communities around the world. Various denominational convergences further consolidated the women's groups, and by 1973, we have the groups that we currently recognize as the United Methodist Women. And our purpose, our stated purpose, is to know God and to experience freedom as whole persons through Jesus Christ. To develop a creative and supportive fellowship. To expand the concepts of mission through participation in the global ministries of the church. I get to be a part of that every day through this group. And it blows me away and makes me so proud of all that we do. Now, Bishop Benny Warner is going to talk to us. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very happy to be here. I had a very pleasant ride from Oklahoma City upward and Tulsa and up round about this way. Never been around this way before, and I was just admiring the old overseeing. I want to thank you very much for having me here, and thank you, Blake, for thinking about me. He and I go a long way. He was appointed when I was district superintendent down in Camden, and he was way out there in Fiji, if you know where that is. South Sea Island, way out there, and he got appointed. The only person that was appointed without being president. 2 churches, and they kept asking me, I said, Brother Ben, where's our pastor? He's in Fiji. Where is that? Somewhere out in the world. But, he paid a nice time. I'm glad that he's here. I want to say that I'm very happy for you because you are involved in a new beginning. I like new beginnings. You building. I saw the spot where you were going to build a house. I don't call it church, because you the church. A house that will have the church in it. And I want to thank you for that. I want to applaud you for that. And I'm also building a school for children. So all of us are engaged in this new beginning in the building process. I like new beginnings because you can bring people around so you can march together. And I am looking forward to the day when you will celebrate the victory. You made it. You got a house. And then you can dance in it, clap in it, sing in it, shout in it, pray in it, and drink your coffee and brownies. That will be great. But I want to begin to tell you a story. I'm not going to preach this morning, but I want to witness. I want to make a testimony. And I have been waiting for this time, for this period, this opportunity to tell the United Methodist women what the United Methodists done for me some 60-odd years ago. Some 60-odd years ago, I was inspired and captivated by black marks on white paper. Black marks on white paper. I saw people come to my village. Those three pictures down there is the water hole where my people got water from, right down at my village. And they come and they got this paper and something written on it with a pen or pencil. And they would read it. They would say, what's on it? Like you just did. You got a bunch of papers there. And you just did. When I saw that as a little boy, around 10, 8, 10, I didn't go to school until I was 15, so round about there, I said, this is magic. This is magic. Can you imagine in an illiterate society, nobody reads nothing from paper, and these fellas got stuff on the paper and they're reading it? Man, it blew my mind. I told my father, I want to be like that. I want to do it. I want to be able to scribble something and I can tell you what it is. But you wouldn't know what it is because you don't know how to do it, what's on it. My father said people who knew how to do that went to school. Well, there's no school around my village. Not a school nearby. And I heard of a school out there about 120 miles away from my village. So this thing stayed on my mind, this black marks on white paper. One day, news came about, not by radio, not by black marks on white paper, by word of mouth, that a school is being built over there. Told my father, I'm going there, I want to go make black marks on white paper. That's the way I like it. That's what took me. When I got there was a lot of people, youth, children, coming to school to get an education. I was among them. And at the table was this missionary that came from Texas. She's tall, maybe 6 feet, maybe, and her husband is 6 something, like that, from Texas, East Texas. And I said, man, these Texas people, they're like giants. Oh, you know? And so she's the registrar, the teacher and everything. And then we got on the line, and everybody's got my turn. What's your name? Benny Warner. What grade you in? I don't know. And then she said, where's your tuition? Tuition. See, now you have to understand that my vocabulary in the English language is almost 0. So this tuition thing, I don't know what it is. But she understood, you know, she's dealing with people that they're learning English for the first time. And so she said, where's your money? Now, you know what we're talking about. You don't have to know book for that money thing. And then she says, $3. $3. Now I'm telling you $3 because in Liberia, where this school is being built, we use American money, even now, then and even now. $3. And then she's a kind lady, you know, and she's trying to simplify it. She's in sympathy with me. She says, you can pay $1.50 now, and later on, you can pay another $1.50, you'll have $3. So, see, I didn't know when I left my village that you had to pay money to do this black marks on white paper. So I stood there and she thought she's all right. Go over there and when I get done here, I'll come and talk to you all over there. And good thing I was not alone there. Well, a whole bunch of us didn't have no money, no $3. My father and mother never went to school. You know, I was the first that crept out of that village because of this black mark on white paper. So she came over and she said, how are you going to get an education? Well, I didn't come for education. I came to learn how to make black marks on white paper. So this education thing got me all puzzled. I said, what kind of trouble have I gotten myself in? First it's the money, tuition, and now it's education. So I kind of stood there. And can you work? Well, by now I'm 15, who work, you know. In the African village, by the time you get 12, you better know how to work. So we started, I got this work scholarship, going to work. I was a janitor in the school, and we cut the grass. Now over there we say, cut the grass. Back then. Over here you say, mow the lawn. Mow the lawn. Well, we didn't mow no lawn, you had to cut the grass, get a long blade, sharp on both hands, and you had to do like this, swing it, left and right. Rainfall is 120 inches annual, 118 sometimes. By the time you get down over here, you're going over there. By the time you get over there, you just come up again. Keep on doing that. And then, in the middle of that semester, she made her usual announcements. Wednesday morning, every Wednesday morning is chapel time, prayer time, and announcement time. She made this announcement that even to this day brings me money. For all of those boys and girls who don't have money to go to school, this mission has received money from the Women's Society of Christian Service. You call it United Methodist Women now. This mission has received money to help little boys and girls from America, from the Women's Society of Christian Service. And I wish I had this house full of women who will, at that sounding of those words, would applaud. Women's Society of Christian Service. $3. $3 story. And so, I was not the only one. A whole bunch of us. Your return on the $3 investment is what is standing up here now. And the story itself is a phenomenal story because I myself can't believe it. This old barefooted 15-year-old boy rescued by the Women's Society of Christian Service with $3 investment, got to be a teacher, a preacher, a pastor, a vice president of the country, a bishop of the church, a district superintendent down in Camden, Arkansas, where they still fly the rebel flag. and refused to retire. Blake, you got a Bible? Anybody got a Bible? With a psalm in it, psalm. Yeah. Got a Psalm 71, brother. Come right here with me. 71. I just want to show you something why I refuse to retire. 71 verse 18. You whip it up for me.
So even to old age and gray hairs.
The old age and gray hair.
Oh God,
I'm gone.
oh God, do not forsake me until I proclaim your might to all the generations to come. Your power and your righteousness, O God, reach the high heavens.
Okay, so listen, gray hairs, old age, don't give up.
We didn't say this.
And so, according to the official records of the United Methodist Church, I got to be retired in 2004. And since I had a hut, H-U-T, hut, somebody says, what's a hut? I said, it's a little house for two people, me and my wife. And the children and grandchildren sleep on the floor. Yeah, so I went to Oklahoma. And I got to Oklahoma.